course, that's what ended. The result is both teams ended up sharing the points, and it's been a very intense week for Plaza Amador. As I mentioned, they played Árabe Unido. Now they're playing for their Concacaf League survival. And then at the weekend, it's the Panamanian Derby, as they'll be facing Tauro in what promises to be a very exciting match for the league leaders, who have one of the most astounding, it's pretty much staggering if you want to start looking at it from a statistical standpoint. And I'll break it down even further. I'll just give you the basics as far as Plaza Amador and what they've been able to do in this tournament. Actually, what they've been able to do both domestically as well as internationally. Plaza Amador, in their last 15 matches, have only conceded more than a goal, actually 2 goals or more. They conceded a goal on several occasions, but in only one of their last 15 matches have they conceded more than 1 goal. Just keep that in mind to show you that a team that's been with their respective offensive struggles, when you have a defense that has been able to respond the way that it has, especially the Eric Hughes in goal, that's something that's very important. Meanwhile, you have a Walter Ferretti side that's been very combative, and they're still waiting for the resumption of their respective domestic league, and that could help them out as the two teams start getting ready as they step onto the pitch at the Romel Fernandez. So both teams getting ready, as there's a couple of changes, just ever so slight changes for both this Plaza Amador side. You see Eric Zorrilla, Valentin Pimentel, Sergio Ortega, as well as Richard Rodriguez, a player who has a sensational finish from outside. Keep an eye on him, as he's one of those players that's looking to get some recognition from Bolillo Gomez for the national team. Jair Palacios with Hughes, Gomez, Carabalí, Dixon, Ortega, Pimentel, Betancourt, Zorrilla, Sinclair, Rodriguez, and Murillo. So more of a 4-3-1-2. Rodriguez more drop back, albeit at the number 10 position. He's able to also be that offensive threat from a more perimeter aspect for this Plaza Amador side, really trying to open that defense up a little bit more. Obviously, the key for Plaza is how they're able to develop their play from the outside in, as Sinclair and Murillo vital for the attack on the outside portion of this particular system, this particular attack that Jair Palacios is looking to implement for this Plaza Amador. You see Juan Carlos Guerra, an all Guatemalan crew, Rene Ochoa, Marco Tulio Diaz, and Sergio Reina, the officials for this encounter. Meanwhile, for Walter Ferretti, they flew in with their 18 players. They've been talking a lot about what they need to do, what they have to do, and the only change that you really start looking is the insertion of Eric Lasso into the lineup, as you start to see Jorge Garcia be looked at as far as the relief off the bench. Pretty much a 5-3-2 for Flavio Rego da Silva. So it'll be interesting to see how this team is able to really neutralize how they want to look to limit the amount of opportunities created from the wings. Remember last week, that Plaza was looking always to send those crosses into the area, not being very successful. And that's why you see a lot of these players such as Luis Mendoza, Daniel Blanco getting the rest tonight. And they could be very instrumental as far as creating some good changes and being able to speed up some of the tempo that could be established and kind of be that revulsive player coming off the bench. So we will see which one of these two teams, if they go the 90 minutes and find it out, or maybe they have to go to penalties once again to find out. And it'll be an interesting one because you have two goalkeepers that are very good under the sticks as far as penalty kicks are concerned. So we will find out what plays out in this particular encounter. So just waiting for the players to get into their respective positions. We'll be starting very shortly as waiting at the whistle here as the Plaza fans are slowly coming into the stadium, looking to see what they can do to help their side advance to the semifinals of this tournament. Again, remember, one team will get that direct pass to the next competition, which is the Scotiabank Concacaf Champions League. That'll start in February. Away we go. Plaza in their traditional blue and red, while Walter Ferretti in their black and red kits, going from left to right, deep ball. And that's what they're looking to do again, sending it through. Munive dropping back. Rodriguez. Gomez. Cross into the area, is falling down with Sinclair. Locking, loaded, shot! 1-0 for Plaza Amador. And just like that, the home team takes advantage. None other than Murillo, Jose Murillo, 1-0. And it took less than 25 seconds. Send the ball deep, pressure quickly. 1-0, Plaza Amador.
Gol de Plaza Amador, del jugador Jose Murillo con la camiseta número 20.
Two cardinal sins that just occurred there for Walter Ferretti. Number one, when that ball gets cleared out, your first job is to be able to clear it out as quickly as possible. And number two, you don't cross it into the middle. That's infantile defense. The ball gets knocked in right there. Any coach at any level will tell you, son, get it out of there. A major mistake there by Vanegas. And he pays for it dearly with that cannon rifle shot there by Murillo. So Murillo already, it'll be officially in the first minute of play as he goes in and begins his Scotiabank Concacaf League account. And that relaxes Plaza Amador much more. It puts a lot of pressure on that back line. As you see how it's set up right now. Tapia, of course, playing as one of the three central defenders, back line of five. And also, what's most important is how this team is looking to set themselves up and looking to bounce back. There's no doubt about it that they're absolutely stunned right now. And with that in mind, you have to keep that in the back of your head. It's going to be Plaza Amador looking to try and get a second one against a team that has struggled scoring and hasn't had many games under their belt as of recent weeks. Plaza. Zorrilla. Vanegas winning the ball and getting intercepted just as quickly as it goes out wide to Ortega. Sergio Ortega. Alglish Dixon has some room as Jair Palacios already off his bench, and now it's Zorrilla looking in the middle. It goes to Pimentel. Maybe a little bit too much air on that ball, but brought down, looking for a handball, not going to get it. As quickly it goes to Humberto Gomez. Gomez, who was playing as a wing the other day. Mendoza was the one that was playing as a right back. Kind of tended to run into each other at times. And that was one of the major issues that Plaza Amador was having during certain stages, specific stages. See some of the divots that have been created here on the pitch at the Rommel Fernandez. In-swinger coming in. Low line ball is Rodriguez looking to swing that ball into the area. It'll be another corner kick coming up. As Rodriguez, a brilliant left foot. He was going to be a key as far as taking shots, but of course Murillo took some of that protagonism away from him early on. Rodriguez gets some air under it. Inside the area, gets knotted away at the end by Lopez. So it was Jesse Lopez again. As Walter Ferretti looking to regroup. And Plaza continuing to pressure, continuing to keep the ball very deep in Walter Ferretti's side of the pitch. Launched near the 6. Zorrilla waits, thinks about it twice, but finally it's the Brazilian Dalmeida that ends up winning. Looking out wide. Now, mind you, Plaza aren't out of the woods yet. I mean, they have to try and get another goal as quickly as possible or try and shut down this Walter Ferretti side. They're very aware of it. Gomez. You see some of the nerves on the Nicaraguan side right now. Notice whenever that ball's going through some of those bare areas, how it skips. That could be a major key when it comes to how the ball is distributed in certain areas. Tends to hop a little bit. You hear the Plaza fans banging on their percussion instruments, talking about how they are the biggest team in all of Panama. They'll get to prove it both domestically as well as internationally, as coming through as Richard Rodriguez Pimentel dropping back, as so is the rest of Plaza Amador. As it goes out wide to the Uruguayan, Loreiro turns around and not able to get a good touch on it. It is a very heavy pitch. It has been raining here in Panama City the past few days, so keep that in mind. Ortega. The ball is won again by Walter Ferretti. Rodriguez winning in the air, beating Cristian Gutierrez. Jesse Lopez hurdling, getting past. And surrounded by 4 players as he's driven out wide. Doesn't have many options, and now it's Plaza with Rodriguez. Back into the middle it goes for Valentin Pimentel. Pimentel to Rodriguez. You start to see the players begin to scatter around a little bit, just a little bit too far for Sinclair. And another bullet dodge there by Walter Ferretti early on. We're in the 8th minute of play. I'm trying to find out. I think it was in the 25th or 26th second in which Plaza Amador scored. By far, that is the fastest goal that's been scored in this tournament up to now. You see how the ball jumps up there on Espinosa, but he's able to control it very well. Gutierrez. And it's Eric Hughes, one of the players that's being considered. Well, not just yet. Hughes, many consider him the 4th goalkeeper for Panama at this stage. Another deep ball. As Rodriguez, again in the yellow card, goes to Cristian Gutierrez early on, already conditioned, and he already needs to start looking out because of that infraction, that in the 9th minute of play. So a goal and a card already against this Walter Ferretti side. How much of a difference does it make to really have a player like Richard Rodriguez on the pitch, as he's been able to be that metronome in the middle. He's been able to move that ball very well, very quickly, and making very good decisions in the process. As Murillo walks away, the man that scored the only goal that's on the board up to now. Here's Rodriguez into the area, and foul was called in the process, so Walter Ferretti being able to stave off another opportunity. For this Walter Ferretti side, they're slowly beginning to settle down a bit. See how that ball bounces around as it drops back into the middle. Vanegas, Laureiro, Robinson, the Brazilian. To put it through, here's Robinson! Oh, the post saves the day for Plaza Amador, unbelievably. As Eric Hughes just absolutely livid right now. You can't blame him. You can see how the defense breaks down on this deflection, and somehow, some way, the guardian angel of goalkeepers saving Eric Hughes, and by the grace of God, by some providentiality, we're still 1-0. That would have been a huge blow, and again, that's what I was talking about a few minutes ago, about the necessity for Plaza Amador after scoring that first goal to continue going, to continue pushing, looking for that second goal. Any situation where there could be a lapse in concentration really would put them in a very negative position, because a draw with goals, a 1-1, would help Walter Ferretti advance. Of course, there's still lots of time to be played, but it would really complicate things for Plaza Amador. Robinson da Silva, nice pass into space, but Hughes being able to anticipate it. So as play continues, here's Humberto Gomez. Carabalí sends it over to Alglish Dixon. Ortega coming from his left back position. And one thing to look at when you're observing how Walter Ferretti is defending and why you start to see more deep balls from Plaza Amador, they're trying to constrict the middle a bit more. And they're having their wing backs push up to try and prevent players like Ortega and like Humberto Gomez to penetrate down the wings. But what occurs there is that when you have a player, a wing really start to pinch in towards the middle, you start losing a lot of accountability, and you start losing the spaces that are able to be created in those certain sectors. That's why you start to see Ortega, especially on the left-hand side, being looked at, being sought after a bit more with those deep balls, especially outside. When you start to look at this Walter Ferretti side, yeah, they press very well in their top five, their first defending five, if you will. Their back five tend to give a little bit more of a lax approach when it comes to defending, and are willing to give, but they need to also join and play a little bit more collectively when it comes to the defensive end of this game. And Walter Ferretti looks like they've recovered from that initial blow that they suffered. Munive, the Colombian, trying to send it into space, but of course the second ball is being won. And that's a foul, and Eric Lasso getting knocked down quickly, looking to reset with Laureiro, one of the leading goal scorers, coming into this round of the quarterfinals of this Concacaf League. With Laureiro with 2 goals. Laureiro knocked away there by Auglish. And down goes Richard Rodriguez. So you start to see a bit more chippy play, but also Walter Ferretti, as Rodriguez gets a double, gets smacked in the face twice. Obviously not ill intention, but just happens to be what happens when you find yourself in the middle of 2 other players. That being said, well, play continues for Plaza Amador as they're winning. They haven't been able to score that second one, but they're still rather comfortable. And Walter Ferretti, with the exception of the other opportunity that went off the post, really haven't been able to generate much. I've seen a little bit of that edge being lost by Plaza Amador, but then also give a lot of credit to Walter Ferretti to be able to come back and find some of that comfort, some of the ability. Again, a ball missed in the middle, cleared away at the last second. It'll be a corner kick coming up for Plaza Amador. As soon as I was singing their praises, ball just misplayed there in the end. It was Jesse Lopez waiting for that ball to come in. Here's Rodriguez with the outswinger. Punched away by Espinosa. Plaza looking to recover, and again, it was in an unorthodox manner that the ball was recovered, but again, it's effective enough to have the foul called, and immediately you start to see this Walter Ferretti side break out much quicker. Munive, as he becomes a central defender, De Almeida goes to his left, and of course Cristian Gutierrez to his right. That back line of 3, that becomes a back line of 5, of course. His play continues, 18 minutes in, still Plaza Amador with the slight edge in the aggregate. Gutierrez. Robinson. Almeida. Gutierrez again, as you start to see Walter Ferretti moving it around back and forth. It goes to Laureiro. Out wide on the left was Eric Lasso. Trying to send it back into the middle over to Josimar Amador. Vanegas waiting, and now it's ball going to Tapia. Almeida. Murillo. Rodriguez advancing as the run being made by Ortega as he dashes down the left-hand side. Has some accompaniment. Finally, Rodriguez looking inside has Valentin Pimentel. Those 2 turrets in the middle. Those 2 players that just offers so much stability and balance to Plaza Amador on the attack. Too far, way too far, way too far for none other than Sergio Ortega, who's joined in the attack. And Plaza, with that in mind, they stick to a back line of three. Mendoza obviously not playing. Humberto Gomez deciding to go play. So that offers Francisco Betancourt the option to be able to recover and drop back and become that third central defender if need be. Here's Valentin Pimentel as he gets pickpocketed. He has that ball taken away by the Brazilian Robinson. And quickly reset here, and off to the races go Walter Ferretti. Jesse Lopez, Eric Lasso, who did not get the start in Esteli. Looking for a bit more dynamic play when you're looking at a player that can make things happen off the counterattack. That's at least what Flavio da Silva was talking about when looking at some of the options that can be at his disposition. That's what he was looking for when he makes this specific change. Obviously, the game was not going to be played 90 minutes at the pace that Plaza Amador came out and played at. Looking at least force Walter Ferretti out of the back, and if they're able to get a good chance, that could lead to a counterattack. Monive. And you see that ball bounce, some problems controlling. It goes right over to Plaza Amador, dashing right through the middle. Pushing, plowing through Zorrilla. Another mistake, and finally cleared out by Gutierrez. Here's Murillo triangulating forward. It goes to Mendoza, excuse me, to Ortega. And a missed opportunity there, and again, mistakes are what haunt teams throughout matches. Little mistakes, whether they get executed on the other end, whether they're taken advantage of by the other team, that's a different story. But when you're giving a team chances like Walter Ferretti's giving Plaza Amador chances right now, that puts them in an even bigger hole. Almeida is Walter Ferretti come out very tentative, looking to go down the right side. It's Plaza Amador looking to play out. Here comes another attack. Rodriguez. Zorrilla. Ortega. Another swing, another miss. Another mistake by Walter Ferretti, dropping back. The opportunity's there. The ball was being dropped back. It'll be a corner kick coming up for Plaza Amador, but there were 3-4 options on that play. As you see how Robinson loses the ball, as Humberto Gomez anticipating well. You're saying, well, no, Richard Rodriguez was making a run. He was being held, but he also had two players outside of, just out in front of the 12-yard mark, the penalty mark. They could have dropped it too, and they would have had just as good a shot, maybe even a better option. But now it's a corner kick for Plaza Amador. Placing it inside the area. Everybody misses on this occasion. Dixon, who joins the attack, putting inside the area and finally cleared out. This time it was Jesse Lopez. Hughes. Gladly will take those types of balls in his area compared to the one that he had to deal with. He deflected it and just ended up just rolling on to the post. could have been cataclysmic at that moment for Plaza Amador, as they too have settled from that particular breakdown. Pimentel. Richard Rodriguez. Of course, Rodriguez is not going to have the pace to be able to run past defenders, so they'll just drop back a little bit more and wait for him to distribute. Brilliant left foot, but then at times a little bit too left-footed, Rodriguez. But again, the way he sometimes passes, you kind of would forget about that detail and just admire and enjoy what he's able to offer. Pimentel. Gomez. Gomez with a good individual play and a ball that comes right through. Still bouncing around, had to be cleared out. No other option for Eder Munive. And the big guy clears it out. It would be a corner kick. I think that's number 6 already. Yes, it is number 6 for Plaza Amador, and we're only 25, almost 26 minutes in. Looking for the infraction. No, not there. So again, take one more as Rodriguez. Let's see how tight or how far out that ball will go. Looking for that first post, and he ends up hooking it, not putting too much on it, as it's Munive. Pretty much gives it right back to Plaza. Another chance, another shot from outside. Gobbled up by Denis Espinosa, the veteran 37-year-old goalkeeper. Lopez. Robinson. It's intelligent what Plaza Amador are doing. Yeah, well, fine. Well, come at us. See what you can do. As of right now, Walter Ferretti haven't been consistent on that end. So Plaza saying, okay, fine, come at us. Come at us with your best possible opportunity, with your best possible play. And that's what we start to see, passes into space where there's no one for Walter Ferretti to retrieve that ball. And Plaza Amador is a team that's very willing to go into hand-to-hand combat in the middle of the pitch. They're willing to go do that because of how they're able to find the individuals in the middle of the pitch that can really make a difference in those types of situations. Looking for a foul, not going to get it. Rodriguez as Pimentel clearing it out. Nice pass, deep, but way too deep, too heavy on the touch. And it goes right to Denis Espinosa. Look how, if not the first touch, the second touch. What happens with Walter Ferretti? They start to play around the perimeter. You have two players in Pimentel as well as Rodriguez that drop in, and then in the middle you start to add another factor, which is Ernesto Sinclair, who's dropped back. Up top, it's Zorrilla remaining as the point. So you have 4 players, most of the time 3, but a good portion of the time 4, that end up defending in the middle. Kind of complicate, because as soon as that ball comes through, the foul being committed there. Whenever Walter Ferretti want to put that ball in the middle, there's always some complications. There's always some type of restriction being implemented. As you see right there, clear as day, the foul committed by Francisco Betancourt. Laureiro, who's come close a couple of times from this distance. A little bit too far there for him, but he does have the range. You saw right there, he does have the range to be able to really create something of importance for Walter Ferretti. Ortega. Pimentel just a whisker too late on that one. Lasso, and now here's a good chance for Walter Ferretti. Josimar Amador. And coming in at the last minute there was Robinson to be able to make sure that that ball, if there was a rebound by Hughes, he was going to pounce on it. So again, you start to see how things are breaking out a bit for Walter Ferretti, who are still depending a great deal on the counterattack, and that's been their most dangerous asset. But then when they have the ball at their feet, they commit way too many mistakes transporting it forward. And you'll see what I'm talking about, especially after they cross the pitch, the middle of the pitch, how they start working it into that defensive third. Lopez, Laureiro, 6 players dropping back, and the ball taken away quickly as the matchups are always favoring. A foul committed there, the referee saw it, but let's play go on the other side. Rodriguez getting it and man down on the other end, and we'll see what the referee does on this play, because he did see the contact that was made. Let's see how he responds. Juan Carlos Guerra giving some indications there. Murillo complaining, of course he got checked. Oh man, he's talking about how he hit the ground. So right there. Not sure what the referee, I mean, he was looking at it. It wasn't even close. As he was, right there, Murillo was talking about how he hit the ground. As I mentioned before, this is a very hard pitch. It is grass, but it is a very hard pitch here at the Rommel Fernandez. So keep that in mind whenever you start to see players on the ground. Of course, this pitch has been undergoing some major treatment in the past few weeks as it gets ready to host a World Cup qualifier. Panama facing, you see right there, the former Botafogo man. And of course, Botafogo was also a youth coach at Botafogo. Of course, his beloved Botafogo getting eliminated last night in the semifinals of the Copa do Brasil after they lose to Flamengo. Of course, he's been one of the mainstays, and many revere him highly, especially in Central American football. They've even talked about him being a potential future coach of the Nicaraguan national team. On what happens in the future to Henry Duarte. Duarte looking to continue his time with Los Pinoleros, as he's had a very good tenure as Nicaraguan national team coach. He was able to help them qualify after ending up in 5th place in the Central American Cup, played off against Haiti, and were able to advance over Le Grenadier in convincing fashion. And a chance from outside, way outside. So for the most part, that's where Souza is being looked at, and of course Flavio Hego da Silva, a coach that's being looked at by many. Of course, right now he's already said, despite it being his second tenure with this Walter Ferretti side, he feels at home. He feels comfortable with this club, how this organization is building and how things are growing at Walter Ferretti. And where his role, he feels very confident in the future of it as well. A team that's currently in last place in the Nicaraguan League, but that statistic itself is a bit deceptive because they've only played one match. So that particular statistic is a little bit more skewed based on how many matches everyone else has played. Laureiro, again, look how deep Laureiro has been able to drop back to be able to hold that ball. Almeida. And that's just fine for Plaza Amador. They're willing to engage and converge on him in this sector. Make their approach, make their ball movement that much more complicated. And that's been a tremendous issue for Walter Ferretti to be able to create some consistency offensively. There's the foul there again on Murillo. You see what I was talking about earlier. Here's a ball that comes through with Espinosa, anticipating it well. On that play, you saw what I was talking about, how the back line seems to be a little bit more lenient and drops back, offering this pocket that gets created in the middle of the pitch because everyone starts to look from the midfield on up. If you start looking at the 3-2 up top, that 3-2 ends up pushing and pressing to try and prevent Plaza Amador from really advancing with a lot of fluidity. But then when the long ball comes in, it goes into that space in the middle because the back line's dropping back and looking to cover. A lot of arms flailing around, but the referee says play on. Here's Richard Rodriguez, Jair Palacio, excuse me, check that. That's Sinclair. Pimentel lets the ball roll. It goes to Sorria, opens out wide to Gomez. Chugging forward. Crosses into the middle. Another corner kick coming up for Plaza Amador. For Plaza, another aspect of this match and how it's been able to develop. Those wings have been just expressways as far as moving the ball forward. Both Ortega as well as Gomez, whenever they go on the attack, they've had all types of leeway to be able to go through. Carabalí and Dixon stay. Betancourt drops back and he becomes that security blanket. So you don't have a lot that's being lost there because Betancourt, for the most part, is going to be a player that plays very deep and also is able to break out to be that first touch in transition. But Gomez and Ortega have been able to really go back and forth. Rodriguez, ball coming through. Carabalí brings it down, trying to hammer it. It goes into a massive humanity. It gets cleared away again. Here's another chance, another ball. It's just given right to Denis Espinosa. Now here's the answer for Walter Ferretti. As Robinson splits right through. Robinson wins the ball, able to come through. Is he going to get a penalty? Yes, he is. Oh, what a break here for Walter Ferretti. As a cardinal sin was just committed here by Plaza Amador. Penalty, there's no doubt about it, no argumentation whatsoever from Plaza Amador. You're going to see right here, mighty close, and then you have to start looking at where the referee was on this play. There's contact with the player before there's contact with the ball. So, I mean, that's not a very difficult thing to look at. And what a break this would be for Walter Ferretti. As, of course, we're no longer in a situation where we will go to penalties. That, of course, was solved. That, of course, was defined very early in this match. And now it puts Walter Ferretti with the ever so slight advantage. And he'd become, at this point right now, Laureiro looking for his third goal of the tournament. As he would end up in second place. Here's the Uruguayan Laureiro. Carlos Small at the top of that list, man from Árabe Unido. He has 4. Eric Hughes, the hero in the penalty shootouts against Portmore United. Can he pull it out one more time? He's looking to go to his right, to Laureiro's left. That's where Laureiro goes, and that's why we're 1-1, and that's why advantage Walter Ferretti. One of the basics of penalty shots that goalkeepers are taught from day one. As you see right here, what's going to happen is Bernardo Laureiro, Jose Bernardo Laureiro, makes it 1-1 at 41 minutes. This would be a tremendous upset. So Laureiro's third of the tournament now changes things completely once again. It's a case of being able to take advantage of moments. No foul. As now Plaza Amador looking and starting to take a little bit more of a foul hunting approach there. So it goes all the way back to Eric Hughes. Obviously, there's still lots of time. There's still about 3-4 more minutes to be played in this first half, plus the second half. So, story far from being over. Richard Rodriguez. Ball served right into the area, cleared away by Christian Gutierrez. And now you're going to start to see a more tenacious defense for Walter Ferretti. And now you start to see some of the body language changing for Plaza. Start to see Rodriguez not be too happy. Valentin Pimentel not being too happy. Zorrilla has been of little use, not by his own fault. Of course, where the ball has been transited mostly. And give a lot of credit to Walter Ferretti's. They've been able to take away some of those moments, that some of that possession away from Plaza. Plaza's dropped back sometimes a little too much, but of course none of that comes into play in terms of how the goal was scored. It comes off a corner kick that had 1 or 2 opportunities, finally gets cleared out. The counterattack ensuing is what creates it. That's why you start to understand why it was so imperative for Plaza to try and get that second goal as quickly as possible after scoring early on in the match. That takes away all types of impetus, all types of momentum that they might have been able to accumulate after that goal initially. But as time went on, they allowed this Walter Ferretti side, this very combative Walter Ferretti side, to be able to get their feet once more. You start to understand that they do have a chance to win. And they have a chance to be able to advance. Plaza looking to settle. It's Murillo. who's been more involved in looking at the referee for calls. That was a handball right there because they didn't even go out of bounds. Ortega got a little bit ahead of himself. Here's another chance, trying to send it in was Zorrilla, but nobody there, just Denis Espinosa. Of course, more time will be taken as a man's down on the near side of the pitch. And then Munive, looks like he just got the wind knocked out of him, just trying to get himself together again. So we're heading into the final few seconds before stoppage time comes into effect. About maybe a minute or two. It's a handball there, but not called as Walter Ferretti gets a few minutes added on. What do you think about that penalty? Do you think it was a penalty? Do you think it's not a penalty? I mean, there could be arguments on both sides. You see right there, 2 minutes of added time being given by Juan Carlos Guerra. Pimentel. This Plaza become a little bit ragged in these last few minutes.
Damas y caballeros,
Gómez.
el árbitro oficial ha indicado que se agregarán 2 minutos al final del primer tiempo.
That ball just rolls out, and now Walter Ferretti just wants to go into the dressing room and calm things down. So goals by Murillo, and then Laureiro with his third from the penalty spot. Right now, giving Walter Ferretti a chance to go into the semifinals of this Scotiabank Concacaf League. Of course, there's still 45 minutes to be played, but these two, there's still lots to be played over. Breakout, and now Walter Ferretti looking to break out deeper as it's Josimar Amador being beat by Aglish. The winner of this match will play the winner of Olimpia Alianza. Of course, that matchup has Alianza after their 1-0 win at the Estadio Cuscatlán. Goal by Fito Celaya. That's the difference so far as the scene shifts over to Comercio Carillas over in Tegucigalpa. Panama looking to be the only country or the only league to have two teams in the semifinals. They look to prove that the league is growing, but it is growing, but that whole objective has a monkey wrench thrown into them by Walter Ferretti as they look to have different plans. So just seconds in, it was Jose Murillo giving the lead, and then in the 41st minute, Jose Bernardo Laureiro equalizing things and putting Walter Ferretti 45 minutes away from the semis.
Damas y caballeros, ha finalizado el primer tiempo con un marcador de 1 para Plaza Amador, 1 para Walter Ferretti. En Scotiabank, el banco canadiense más internacional, somos aficionados de los aficionados. Scotiabank, orgulloso patrocinador de la Liga Concacaf. Para las últimas noticias, estadísticas del partido y lo más destacado del torneo, visite nuestra página en internet concacaf.com. Sigue todas las acciones de la Liga Concacaf Scotiabank a través de la cuenta oficial en Twitter, @Concacaf. También síguenos en nuestra página de Facebook como Concacaf. En Scotiabank, el banco canadiense más internacional, somos aficionados de los aficionados. Scotiabank, orgulloso patrocinador de la Liga Concacaf.
The biggest lesson that you have from a footballing standpoint is once you have a player or a team down, you have to go for broke, especially when you have a team that really wasn't expecting it and kind of gift wraps you the first opportunity of the game, as it was Jose Murillo getting this gift from Venegas. Here, take it. The assist and the goal as Plaza Amador took the lead early on, 1-0. Infantile defending led Plaza to really jump out quickly. And here's where the lesson needs to be learned. Once this team saw themselves in a situation where they were ahead, they got a little bit comfortable, and signs of things to come, foreshadowing of moments towards the future. And if you start to really believe that, just a warning shot, as Plaza didn't have many options, but when they did, they really misused them. They became very wasteful, and at times they just seemed overly comfortable with that one-goal lead. while Walter Ferretti, despite all that, they were able to continue pressing forward. They didn't have many chances. This one right there goes to the hands of Eric Hughes. But here's where the mistake was made. Ball just cleared out on the corner kick, and this is the ensuing play. Of course, after all those rebounds, the ball's cleared out quickly, and then immediately Robinson gets brought down. Laureiro cashes in, perfectly taken penalty kick. 1-1 as Plaza Amador are thinking, well, we had the game, where did it go? And it just vanished and evaporated like some of the water on the pitch here at the Robert Fernandez. As you see right there, everything favoring Plaza Amador because they, in all sense, truly were the dominators of this first half. But Walter Ferretti were able to find a way, some way, somehow, to get back into it. So getting ready for the second half, there is a substitution, it looks like. Looks like there will be a substitution. So Carlos Membreño getting ready to come on. You see him right there. He will be the first substitution, and coming off will be Eric Lasso. So Membreño, who came off the bench the other day in Estelí, gets the nod from Flavio Rego da Silva. Looking for some stability, looking for some balance, but also looking for a little bit more offensive punch. And that could help in one Carlos Membreño, Valentin Pimentel. Give you how the lineups are set as of right now in just a moment, as Plaza Amador looking to start quickly, albeit not as quickly as they did during the first 45 minutes. And of course, Humberto Gomez ends up hitting the deck, and he will try and milk it a little bit, and finally that's not the case as Plaza quickly resets. Hughes in goal, Gomez, Carabalí, Dixon, and Ortega. The back line for Jair Palacios. Pimentel, Betancourt, and Zorrilla, with Rodriguez, Sinclair, and Jose Murillo, the man who scored the first goal about first minute of play. As here's a breakout coming out for Walter Ferretti, but 1-on-6 as the veteran Robinson da Silva thinks wisely, and despite all that is able to keep possession, is able to generate a throw-in. As you see what he was able to do intelligently. And you see here as Gomez goes down, gets stepped on, grazed on, whatever. You might say, oh, those cleats are light. Yeah, try and get stomped on by one of those. Laureiro. As Sinclair's dropped back to create some defensive help. Rodriguez rushing forward, and all that, you start to see more work from Edwin Zorrilla as Rodriguez drops back. You see Sinclair drop back, and so does Murillo. Edwin Zorrilla shifts over towards the middle and ends up by default becoming that number 9, if you will, for Plaza Amador. Alglish, Dixon, Sergio Ortega. Not going to take advantage of space, but a great job by Cristian Gutierrez, who's played some solid football on that right side of Walter Ferretti's back line. Munive. Espinosa, Munive, de Almeida, and Lopez. The 3 central defenders, Cristian Gutierrez and Tapia. The 2 wing backs, back line of 5 for Walter Ferretti. A 5-3-2 that's being played. Laureiro, Vanegas, and Robinson, with, of course, the recently entered Membreño and Josimar Amador. So another corner kick, that'll be number 8 for Plaza. A lot to be desired as this one at least goes on target, but smothered quickly by Denis Espinosa. Already 45 minutes played, and with this result, if this were to remain this same result, 1-1, obviously we're not going to penalty kicks anymore. This result remains. Walter Ferretti advances on away goals. Deep ball brought down quite easily there by Lid Carabalí. Pimentel getting a talking to his Laureiro. felt something, anything that could justify the call. She goes down again. Plaza Amador, at times, they end up being their worst enemy. On paper, they are the much better team, but somehow they're able to complicate themselves by making mistakes like this one. Here's Laureiro, two of the big boys, both Brazilians. Right outside the area. Looking to place it with his left foot. Hughes brings it down. He bowls it over quickly on the counterattack. Too heavy on the touch. I don't know what happened there. As Ortega loses control. He lost sight of the ball, and that's quickly taken advantage by the Nicaraguans. Ferretti. Did it go over? Almost went over the fencing there on the south side of this Estadio Rommel Fernandez. So fans continue to chant and play their drums and look to help their team go forward. It's quite a celebration after that goal. That's where things got really hot and heated from a fan standpoint. As there goes another corner kick coming up. Richard Rodriguez has not been very accurate, but here Tapia limping as he gets back to his position. Let's see what happens here, because it'll be interesting to see when Rodriguez is able to be spot on. He can be absolutely tremendous as a man down with some contact. A yellow card being issued. Of course, I'm able to see where, of course, with all the players that are around. Looks like it was given to Humberto Gomez, not exactly sure. We'll get official confirmation shortly, but looked like it was in that direction. Rodriguez just waiting to make sure everything gets cleared up. Going near post, but guarded very well. Not a lot of pace on those balls. And again, it takes too much time for the runs to be made. You're going to see right here what happens. You know what? Seeing that, I mean, that's quite generous, just getting a yellow card. Now going far post, defended well once again, and we'll do it all over again as it's already double digits as far as the corner kicks for Plaza Amador. Waiting to see. As Rodriguez has not been too accurate with those headers, or not with the headers, with the crosses. That could be taking his headers. And again, a perfectly taken chance. It hops off the crossbar, the top portion of it. Good job by Lee Carabalí to crash in there. Almost. There's a lot of uncertainty here. Look what Carabalí is able to do. Just crashes in. It hits him in the face, but Plaza again not being able to take advantage. Again, that's also a good warning sign for Plaza next time. Again, we were talking about how accurate Rodriguez can be. He wasn't, and that one, he was able to put it right on the money. With a little bit of hard work, with a little bit of elbow grease. Carabalí almost made it 2-1. It gets past Rodriguez. Chases, commits the foul, but giving advantage as Vanegas wins it finally. Vanegas little bit of disorganization as Zorrilla now goes to Rodriguez, who's wide open. Rodriguez looking to take a shot from outside. The save, the parry, the chance, the shot, the rebound, and it's 2-1 for Plaza Amador. Ernesto Sinclair. Key players come in key moments, in key games, and two players that just showed up fit the bill to perfection. Rodriguez, who had been lost just moments before, sent a very good corner. And then finally, Rodriguez, using his primary weapon, the long shot, forces a rebound. Not much that could be done. But I also give a lot of props to Ernesto Sinclair, who followed through. I'd like to see if he was onside. That's another big question. But Sinclair, a lot of forwards would have stopped and would have seen that shot. The ball gets parried away, the goalkeeper recovers, but Sinclair continued, followed the play through, and in the 55th minute, Plaza Amador back on top. It's 2-1 thanks to Ernesto Sinclair. 2 consecutive matches, 2 consecutive goals as Valentin Pimentel, the man, goes down for Plaza. There's Betancourt now giving chase. Sinclair, the man that scored the goal. Of course, he scored at the weekend against Árabe Unido. Árabe Unido, of course, has advanced to the next round, and they'll be facing Santos de Guapiles. Many have looked at as the sensation team in Costa Rican football, but also in this tournament. As all eyes were placed, at least from a Costa Rican perspective, on Liga Deportiva Alajuelense to advance. Of course, they had the tough draw against Olimpia, and of course, everything really much to the chagrin of my producer. Not going well with Liga in this particular tournament. It's Jair Palacios. Second substitution will be Jorge Garcia coming on, and he will replace Jesse Lopez. So Lopez comes off. That'll be at 58 for Jorge Garcia. 58 minutes. And another chance here, Zorrilla. A little bit too short for Pimentel, and it'll be a goal kick for Walter Ferretti. What was interesting to see was after the whistle blew for halftime, many of the players really with their heads down for Plaza Amador. They were very disappointed. They were very upset at the fact that they'd conceded that goal towards the end of the first half. And they were understanding, and there were a lot of individuals that were starting to question, but immediately you started to see Jair Palacios behind him, or behind them, I should say, giving them words of encouragement. He's always been known as a very vociferous, a very demonstrative type of coach. Sometimes goes to extremes, but in this occasion, he was patting everyone on the back and kind of giving them reassurance. Hey, we're okay, everything's fine. And that, to a certain extent, does help out when you look at a team and how you have to deal with some fragile states of mind that end up developing because of how a game evolves. listen to how the players talk about Jair Palacios, and they have such reverence for him. Obviously, he has his antics at times, and he has certain ways of communicating in the heat of the moment, but what players understand is that he's always by their side. Deep ball again. Pimentel. Zorrilla. He's one of those forwards for Plaza Amador that's so effective coming from the outside in. Rushing is Sinclair, trying to pressure, as it was Christian Gutierrez that hits the deck. Espinosa. Robinson, he's on an island all by himself. And the response right there, ooh, watch out, is Murillo. Losing his head a little bit here. As the old saying goes, everyone sees the reaction, not the actual action, or the retaliation, I should say. Here, the referee doesn't see either one. And he's right there. Go figure. Plaza still with the ball is Walter Ferretti defending with tooth and nail now. Plaza Amador have been given a new lease on life in these past few minutes. Of course, the goal by Sinclair lets them breathe a little easier. But now, if they've learned the lesson from the first half, you have to try and continue executing your game and try and get a third. And Walter Ferretti doesn't have the firepower per se to come back from 2 goals, yet Plaza Amador do. And this is staying within the realm of a trend that's been established, and it's interesting to see it. I hope I don't jinx it for mentioning it first and foremost, as the ball goes past everyone. As I mentioned, in only 1 match have Plaza Amador in their last 15 been able to concede more than 1 goal. They've conceded 1 goal or less in 14 out of the last 15 matches. Now, what makes it even more amazing from a domestic and international standpoint for this team is that they've conceded 1 goal or less in 23 out of their last 25 matches, be it league or international competitions. And even more amazing, if you want to start breaking it down, it's been 32 out of the last 35 where they've been able to shut down the opposing team's offense. A foul being called there, but not much, as the referee gives advantage. Rodriguez. As it was, again, Christian Gutierrez giving a little bit of space. Here's a good opportunity as he's able to run through. Pimentel a little too late, and now being able to run back. Just want to even look at how more impressive it is. Same number, 41 out of the last 45 matches that Plaza Amador have been able to play. And it keeps on going. It makes it even that much more impressive. 49 out of the last 55. And finally, 58 out of the last 65 matches dating back to January of 2016. This Plaza Amador side have conceded 1 goal or less. So that in and of itself shows you the defensive structure that's been established by Jair Palacios and the success that this team has had in order to implement it, both domestically as well as internationally, as you see Ernesto Sinclair still on the ground. You see right here how the goal was made. And again, look at the persistency by Sinclair. That is more telling from an effort standpoint. While the defense watched, Sinclair kept running. Of course, give a lot of credit to Rodriguez to find the opportunity and to take shots from outside. That's exactly why Jair Palacios gave him the start tonight. And also the Walter Ferretti defenders for just really chasing back and not being able to position themselves quick enough. Again, that's a lot of credit to Rodriguez, and that's his making more than anything else. So Sinclair will come off. He's on the bench. Few options for Jair Palacios. You start looking at Damaso Santos. You start looking at Marlon Avila. Those are pretty much the ones you have to really analyze. No Alexis King tonight. So we'll see if Sinclair is able to continue. You also have Edgar Aparicio, you have Luis Frais, but that would also consist, as you see right there, Aparicio getting ready to come on. As Jair Palacios brought in a more offensive-minded squad. You don't want to give this team any breathing room. Knocked away there by Aguish Dixon. Rodriguez. Rodriguez on the left and Valentin Pimentel more in the middle, going towards the right. That's usually his sector. Dropping back is, of course, Francisco Betancourt, being that support valve for defensive coverage. Munive. Dixon. All the action really has been going in his direction. Looking to break through as another pass into space, stumbling through Sorrilla, trying to ramble on. He gets brought down, and that will be a yellow card. And then you say, well, but he was, remember, there's not a last man rule. There's a dog, so there's, of course, denial of a goal scoring opportunity. That would have been a different interpretation. That wasn't the case by Juan Carlos Guerra, so that's why you start to see the differentiation between this. Wasn't a denial, or at least it was interpreted as such, as Rafael de Almeida ends up going into the referee's book, and it's at the 69th minute of play. Obviously, I'm mentioning that based on interpretation. I'm not mentioning it on whether the interpretation was correct or not. That's another issue for another time. But anyone who would analyze it would probably say that that was a correct call based on that interpretation. As Aparicio comes on, Sinclair, of course, was done for the night. And right into the hands of Espinosa. Tapia gets away there from Josimar. Won by Tapia. Laureiro flailing and finally getting the ball as it had to go through Vanegas first. The Brazilian Robinson. Back for Vanegas. And you see how quickly Plaza Amador are able to fly around the player with the ball. Of course, in this occasion, it's Robinson that is able to recover it finally. But as soon as that ball comes into the middle, there's already a player pressuring. There's already a player looking to at least get a piece of the ball to disrupt. So that's mission accomplished on that side. Pressuring, moving it out wide again to Tapia. Almeida. It goes over to Munive. Swinging it back and forth, this time to Robinson. Looking to filter that ball through. Going to go with the outside of his foot, and another substitution coming on for Plaza Amador. And it'll be Marlon Avila. So we'll see. Will it be for Valentin Pimentel? Probably. It would either be for Pimentel or for Zorrilla. I doubt it would be for Zorrilla as of right now. We'll see his play on the opposite side. It goes over to Robinson. Able to win down the line. Serving it through. And finally cleared out by Lid Carabalí. Let's see who's going to be the substitution. It looks like it's going to be, yeah, it'll be for Richard Rodriguez. Okay, that's also changes. Rodriguez right there just looks exhausted. He's had limited minutes because he's been through injury and also through the recovery of those injuries. He's had limited minutes and he's looked to come back slowly but surely, but now again he's down and he's already suffered some really important knocks in this match. So the most logical thing would be to take him out. I thought it would be more of a tactical to take Pimentel out, but it looks like Avila will play over on the left. You'll see Betancourt stay, but Pimentel will move over towards the left side. So we'll see how things will play out a little bit as Marvin Avila getting ready to come on. Avila definitely playing on the left. Pimentel will stay in this sector. Betancourt will stay in the middle, and we'll see where Zorrilla positions himself. Espinosa. Of course, Avila will be waiting down the wing a bit more. Send it deep. Dixon. So right now it would look essentially start looking at it from this vantage point, how Plaza Amador will stand. You'll have a 4-2-3-1. Pimentel, Betancourt in the 2. Then you start looking at the options that are there. Now you have Marvin Avila, you'll have you'll have also Aparicio, and then Zorrilla with Murillo up top by himself, or you have Murillo go out wide. He's more effective out wide, and Zorrilla accompanying in the middle. Not sure why Zorrilla went down, and remember, down that left side, they've had a lot of success as Christian Gutierrez goes and gets called, and I think he is sent off. So second yellow card, and Well, you know the math. That's at 75, and right there, the ball's not even close. He just went after the player, and that puts things even more critical for Walter Ferretti. I'm not sure what the argument is about. I guess better phrase, I don't know what the argument is to defend what Cristian Gutierrez just did. In any book, in any interpretation, that would be looked at as a yellow card offense. He already had a yellow card, so there's not much else that could be done there by referee Juan Carlos Guerra. 76th minute, 2-1, as Plaza Amador up a goal and up a man after the sending off of Cristian Gutierrez. Aparicio. As the youngster looks to set that ball into the area. He's waiting for the referee's indication, and now he gets it. Took about a minute to get it finally. Aparicio, 4 players in the area. Let's see how they make their runs. Gonna serve it. Putting it in and going just wide. That ball just barely got by. Aparicio looking to take it to that far post. Yeah, oh, fingertips. Oh, what a save there by Espinosa. He got a fingernail on it. And a corner kick coming up for Plaza Amador. And the more time they keep it on this half of the pitch, the better for them. Aparicio. But then remember, the equalizer came as a byproduct of poor defending. The ball chipped in, a great service, but even a better deflection defensively as it's cleared out. Here's Valentin Pimentel. And Baker's dozen as far as corner kicks are concerned now. As you see Aparicio and a bit of that youthful fearlessness being brought in, some more impressive creativity. Aparicio punched away by the veteran Espinosa. Man down. As you start to see some of the training staff again for Plaza Amador. They've had a workout tonight. Let's see right here what happened. Pimentel just got crushed there by Espinosa. Bit of collateral damage for the Panamanian International, and they're bringing in, looks like they're asking for a substitution. Dixon asking for it at least. See what happens, because that would be bad news for Bolillo Gomez, because Valentin Pimentel called up for the national team. We'll see to what extent, and you see right there the body language on Pimentel. the most favorable. This will be interesting because if it's a lower limb injury, at least of what it appears to be, we'll see what occurs with him, with Valentin Pimentel, as he just is totally distraught right now. He'll get some additional treatment, and a substitution will be coming on soon for Plaza Amador, that is, because a substitution was just made. Third and finals, Kenneth Vanegas comes off, and Rene Huete comes on for Walter Ferretti. So that's the third and final substitution. So it's a drop ball situation, and Walter Ferretti says, come on, give us a break. Let us at least get out. As Eder Munive finally plays it out. The sportsmanship being shown by Plaza. Laureiro, he's surrounded by two players, and finally it's recovered by Aparicio. There's been a bit of a spark plug coming off the bench. Aparicio. Listen to my praises maybe a little bit too much, as he got too confident. 82nd minute of play. Time a-wasting for Walter Ferretti, who's made a very brave performance in this Concacaf League. Obviously, many expected them to advance in the first round, as you see Luis Frais coming on, and he will replace Valentin Pimentel. Third and final substitution is made. But remember, a lapse defensively for Plaza Amador could put this Walter Ferretti team back in business. Zorrilla, as he's chased by Munive, cutting back inside. Nice shifty move by the young Panamanian. Murillo, Frais. Final 7.5 minutes plus stoppage time. Of course, that'll be about maybe 4, maybe 5 minutes, barring any additional time being accumulated after this. So we'll see how things play out. Munive. The ball won back in the middle by Plaza Amador. They'll look to flood the middle and see if they can bring in. Of course, the ideal situation would have been to bring in an attacker, especially after the sending off of Cristian Gutierrez. But of course, injury forced Jair Palacios to go to his bench and bring in a midfielder in Frais, who playing a little bit deeper. Here's Murillo, who's dropped back a bit more. His advantage being given by the referee. Now it's Ortega. Out wide, it goes to Zorrilla. In the middle is Marvin Avila. The play is dropping back, and of course, you see Murillo, who's dropped back, and play will be stopped as Murillo will get some treatment. Dixon. Aparicio dumps it into space, and here comes a chase, but a little bit too straight ahead. Not able to do anything with it. And this is the time when you start questioning, okay, does this Plaza Amador side have the killer instinct to finish off this match? despite having control, despite not seeing much from Walter Ferretti in the second half, they're always a counterattack away from being able to score what could be the equalizer. Murillo. Chance for Fries. Looked like it got deflected en route to goal. No, it's going to be a goal kick for Walter Ferretti. Weti. Robinson sends it out wide. Battle all through, and the Brazilian recovers in the middle. I'm impressed with his work rate. I'm impressed with what he's been able to create for this Walter Ferretti side, especially in this tie. He's been so influential. Membreño. Betancourt with the cheeky heel flick, but not very productive as it goes right back to Walter Ferretti. Membreño again as the ball goes way out wide, and Eric Hughes will take his time. So with this result, Plaza Amador advances, and they wait for the winner of Olimpia Alianza. So two Panamanian teams. I mean, of course, we still have about 3 minutes plus stoppage time, so a lot can change from here. But you would have two Panamanian teams, one Costa Rican, and, well, either a Honduran or a Salvadorian side. Aparicio as Plaza continue to knock the ball around, looking to freeze this game up, looking to regulate this game a bit more. Next Sunday for Plaza Amador, yet another test, as they'll be facing their eternal rivals. It's them and Tauro locking horns. As they both look to try to get themselves in a position where they can go top of the table, or remain top of the table in case of Plaza. Another chance and another cross trying to go through. Here's Aparicio again, keeping that ball alive. It'll be a goal kick. It's been a second half where the better team has really asserted themselves on the pitch. I don't remember Eric Hughes being able to get any type of complications or any type of harassment from Walter Ferretti. There's going to be a corner kick. Now things can get a little bit dangerous here. Loureiro trying to go first post, and it wasn't even on the little corner right there. Wasn't even close, but there wasn't anyone to really, also the bad throw-in from Loureiro gives the ball right back to Plaza Amador. So Plaza, as I mentioned, they'll be playing Tauro this weekend here at the Rommel Fernandez. That'll be a very well-anticipated matchup between the two historic sides. Tauro, of course, 5 points behind the pace of Plaza Amador. A win for them gets them back into the argument as far as the league title, at least the race for the league title is concerned. Árabe Unido had a chance to go top of the table. And of course, Plaza Amador being able to come back and get the draw. Aparicio, the 20-year-old, goes down hard, and now the counterattack in the opposite direction. How much time will be given? We'll find out soon, as the foul from the back is Robinson goes down. Robinson da Silva. Tapia was going a little bit high there, but not much. Being called by the referee. I mean, if you're the type that wants to see teams play, well, that's exactly what the referee allowed to do today. Never really lost control of the encounter and knew when to pull out the red card when necessary. So there's been a major intrigue here, but this game's far from over. As Walter Ferretti looking for one more chance. And they'll have to wait. And Laureiro, yellow card being given after Alglish Dixon. Saying, no, he pushed. Set pieces bring out the kindergartner in every single footballer. But he pushed. No, but I pushed back. Of course, a little bigger than kindergartners, but nonetheless, play will resume. Walter Ferretti bringing everyone into the mix. It goes just past Rafael de Almeida, who tried to get a cleat on it, maybe seeing what he could do, and waiting to see how much time was added. Of course, a lot of derbies this weekend in Central America. We already mentioned the one in Panama, but also this coming Saturday, actually week after next Saturday, I should say. It'll be the Costa Rican derby between Alajuelense and Saprissa. Foul being committed there is having to brace himself for the impact, and wasn't as bad as Zorrilla initially thought it would be. Came out unscathed. So a lot of clásicos being played prior to the beginning of the upcoming FIFA international date, the World Cup qualifiers. Going again, a shot from outside and ends up hitting the banners in the back. See how much time is left, or how many more opportunities do Walter Ferretti have in him. Here's a good chance as it floats through, and not much going on. Is Plaza Amador looking to hold on at this point, looking to regulate. As a mistake is made, and here's Murillo. Will he be able to get a chance? Be a bookend, he gets fouled. I mean, getting a goal at the beginning and getting a goal at the end. And at the very beginning, Murillo was able to make it 1-0. Now in stoppage time, he's looking to do the same, but again, he gets brought down in the middle of the pitch by Carlos Membreño. And that should be it. This should be the last play as Lid Carabalí, he can just crank it as far as possible. And that is it. Plaza Amador advanced to the semifinals of this 2017. A sigh of relief for the referee, a sigh of relief for Plaza fans after having a scare towards the end of the first half, but they convinced in the second half. Goals by Murillo and Sinclair pulled them through. Jose Laureiro kept it close and kept it honest. Your final score, Plaza 2, Walter Ferretti 1, as Plaza Amador awaits the winner of Olimpia and Alianza. Have a good evening, everyone. Talk to you soon. Peace.